Because I guess we can see. I see it. It says recording. All right.
All right.
Well, I guess that's decent.
Live on Facebook.
Yep. And then you stream to the
Up on
group.
my other screen. You do not have permission to live stream.
Uh-oh. You don't have an account. You can't do it.
Yeah. Give it back.
Yeah.
Because I got to do it.
I thought we talked about that.
No, we forgot that. We forgot
They
that.
insisted that
Anthony was going to do it and then give it to Tim.
They can't.
Can't do
Once
it like that.
Can't do it like that.
Yeah, once it starts, you can't.
Did you make me the host again?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Wait.
Okay.
You
But
can make me
the recording never stopped though.
Let me see if I can
Yo,
make
we at 7:57, fam.
All right.
man,
The recording
Okay,
never stopped
yeah,
though.
the recording is still going, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it'll record on my John.
I'm
Or just should I
sharing with
stop
the
it
group.
and then restart?
No,
it
don't
just to
stop
make
it.
Sure.
No, just let it go.
All right.
Because it says recording.
Yeah, just
Okay.
let it record.
All
It
right.
says recording.
Okay.
You know. So go ahead, Pooch. You gonna do the join?
Yeah, I'm streaming. I'm already streaming now. It's warming up. It's loading.
Oh, another thing too. After we get done, well, Pooch gonna have to do it now since he's doing a record. You're gonna have to convert that John and then upload it to the Google Drive.
You might have to do that night.
Well, we could start a Zoom session and I could do it. You know.
See, I mean, Stacey, I know how to upload to a Google Drive, man.
Oh,
I
okay.
just couldn't do it from my company's laptop.
Right. I got you.
Sound like you ain't got no faith in me, man.
No, you know. I mean, I don't until you prove yourself.
Live
Yeah.
now in the page.
Hold up, I'm not yet.
2 minutes.
You going live in the
Oh,
box.
so somebody gonna need to also have up Facebook so that if somebody make a comment, we'll see it. Shice, could you do that?
Actually, all three of y'all should because
I mean, well, see, but I got questions here.
No, all y'all both been admins. So I have made y'all both admins, so y'all both.
No, the questions are going to come into the Facebook Live page.
That's what I'm saying.
Yo, we record
That's what I'm saying, Shice.
live now. So, like,
Okay, that's fine.
As they come
Right,
in,
so Stace, you just had your phone open.
Oh, yeah,
You had your
but
phone open, you can see
hey,
it.
cut.
Okay, all right, we
It's
got it. We good.
7:59. 7:59.
yo,
All right,
we about to
count
do this
down.
thing here. All right, now we gonna do this thing
I don't
now.
see it.
I see it. Yeah, live on Facebook. We there.
On page in the group.
10
Yeah.
seconds.
you gotta go to the group page.
I am in the group page. I
We
just
hope everybody there, cause we're gonna have a good time tonight. That's all. We're gonna have a good time. All right, y'all. We like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to the mating voyage of real brothers from the real world. Hope you out there watching, gonna join in.
Yo, share that to my page.
Cool.
I told y'all that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go in the group and then we're gonna put it on our personal page.
Could somebody say it to the page? All right, we're gonna do this real brothers from the real world. Welcome to the Real Brothers podcast. As we get started, this is our maiden voice. This is our first time doing this thing. Hopefully, you'll tune in, have a good time. This is we're just trying to say this is what regular brothers do. Just to give you a little background, we've been friends. We've known each other, most of us, since like the seventh grade. I think Pooch and Shice have known each other. You'll meet them in a minute. Have known each other longer. 4 different brothers, 4 different points of view, 4 different perspectives. But we all have something in common. We all kind of grew up in North Philly, but like I said, you'll get a little bit more about that later. And it kind of all came about from a group text. We had a group text, and we've been doing that for years. How long we been doing a group text, y'all? About what?
Yeah. Since y'all came down, how many years ago that was
That
when y'all
picture-
came down? That was
You
like
know,
right
that's when we
at it.
took your son to the school.
Yeah. Yep.
When was that? What year was that? Do you
2015,
remember?
man.
That was
15?
like 5 years ago because he graduated college already.
Wow.
So yeah.
6 years ago was 2015.
6 years, yeah. 6
So
years.
we've been having a group text since 2016, and a little bit of
15,
everything on
man. I just said
2015.
15. Y'all,
Okay, well, you know, I don't hear too well. Since 2015, how's that? And
That's exactly right.
And actually, if you want to have an idea of what this group test kind of consists of, actually, I thought about it today. Kevin Hart, when his last stand up, he was right on point because we talk about a little bit of everything. So one day, Terry, while we were having our little Zoom call, Terry said, "Well, you know what? Put the camera on it." So we all agreed. So we said it'll be also interesting to roll it out to everybody, but also give people the opportunity to respond, whether it's bring up a topic, join in, and I know Shice probably will say something about this later, but we think that it'll be interesting also because sometimes you're gonna hear the perspective of 4 men. So sometimes it'll be nice to get a perspective, and I'll just say an outsider. I don't want to be chauvinist. I'll say an outsider. I want to give you a heads up before we go further. And remember this, we're not experts. We're not here to report the news. We're not going to give you facts and figures. This is just how we talk. But we happen to know a little something, so it's not going to be a bunch of nonsense. We're not politically correct. If you're looking for politically correct, you might want to reconsider, or at least tune in and see if you can stomach it, because it's not about being politically correct. And we won't be right on everything. Like I said, it's not about trying to teach everybody the square root of 50, if that's such a thing. But we won't be wrong on everything either. All right.
It would actually be the square root of 49.
Yeah, Stace, come on, man.
What do you mean? What? All right, you know what? We'll get.
There's no square root of 50, Stace.
Well, I said that. Well, I just said we're not gonna be right on everything, So I was just
Definitely
wrong.
wasn't right on that one.
So you proved my point. All right. So did I leave out anything? Did I leave out anything as far as what we're thinking this can be, or what we want to share with the customer?
Run down of what we've been talking about tonight. To people that's coming in and what we've been talking about.
Say it again, Shice.
We can do a quick rundown on the topics we're gonna be talking about tonight. So
well, we're gonna let's go through the intro first. Since Shice was the first one to talk, do a little intro, Shice. A little intro. Tell us a little something about you.
Okay, Mr. Raynard Williams, Miss Betty's son. Some people know me from the spoken word community. Proud father of 3. A high school graduate. I met all these cats at the Strawberry Mansion, Navy vet. And I'm, real active in our community. So this is another way that we can access our community, just to get the pulse of what's going on, and to show you, what me and my guys be doing for years. How we gonna let y'all be flies on the wall, but we want y'all to jump in. We want y'all to jump in.
That's right.
Because we want to know how we can take this and go bigger. So make sure y'all in those comment sections.
That's right. That's right. Next we got Terry.
Well, my name is TL, and my name, y'all know TL. All right, and so when I had this idea for us to come together and share our experiences and our views of life, the way we came up. So most of our views are similar, but because of when we came out of the environment that we came out of, we all went in our own different ways, but we still kept the same kind of ideals and everything.
Right.
So like for instance, so I went from York Street to working for, when I say I went from York Street, I mean, I come from York Street, and now, I work for one of the biggest IT companies in the world, right? But I'm still the same old nigga, you know what I mean?
Right.
Don't get it twisted. When I'm at work, I'm at work.
Right.
When I, do my thing, I do my thing. But then when I'm with my fellas, when I'm with my brothers, we have a whole different experience when we're together.
Right.
So I thought that because of our personalities, it would make a good watch. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
all right, now next we have Booch.
Anthony Mosley. Known these cats all my life, known Shice since probably first grade, second grade, I don't remember. Stacey T since 7th grade. We decided to get together and do this podcast to let people know exactly how we feel. Much like you guys, regular man, husband, father, grandfather. We just talk about everyday stuff that we normally would do in our own sessions and bring it to video so you guys can join in with us. Hope y'all enjoy it. Hope y'all like it. To all my fellow 6 cats out there, my mansion nights, get involved. Get involved.
Definitely.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, and I just forgot to mention, I'm just like Pooch. I'm a I'm a father. I'm a husband, a father, a grandfather, the whole nine. You know what I mean? But
I get the feeling somebody told you to make sure you say that night. But anyway, all right.
Wife in the background, like, say it, say it.
Yeah. You better say that shit. You better say that. Or you all right.
It would have been like,
all right. And I'm Stacy, North Philly, as they said, father of four, a husband, working retail, which is a surprise, but I'm there. I love it. I'm having a good time, and we just gonna make it work. All right, we're gonna jump right into it. We have 4 items that we said that we will start off with, 4 little topics, but trust me, these can go anywhere. Say it again. All right, so where do y'all want to start? We said we threw out a couple things. Trump, that's always interesting. What's going on in the political arena? You had the insurrection the other day, people going wild, you know. Then you have the entertainment, the night was at Night in Miami, and we know that's pretty hot. And not specifically the movie, or I should say not only the movie, but the bigger story behind the movie. Then second chances, which I'm sure that could be very interesting. And also, when I say second chance, the reason that came up is we were talking about the second chances as it relates to marriage. Which one y'all want to hop into first?
So politics first, brother.
Politics first.
Yeah, you the man. Take it.
No, I'm saying, okay, what Shiesty, what is it? What made you say that first? You know, talking about.
I think it's the most current thing. We talking about Trump out. A lot of it wanting Trump out and Biden's in. So how we feel about that? We got the first part. He's out. Now Biden's in, and the tone I seen with a lot of us was, I don't know, we were so pro-Joe as more as we were anti-Trump. So I really want to know that, what do we want from this administration? We got him out. We got him out of what you call him. So what we want for the next 4 years? What are we really looking for Joe as far as leadership? I think one of the biggest things is the pandemic. We want to see somebody, because we had Trump acting like.
You said identity? You said identity?
No, he said the pandemic.
Oh, okay, right.
So we had Trump acting like it wasn't a pandemic, so that was just poor leadership.
Right.
That got us stuck, and I watched the rest of the world, how they handle it and bring their numbers down.
That's right.
And for us to be the free world and America, the superpower, we shouldn't be this far behind and dealing with this pandemic.
Yo, I mean, but you know what? Let me ask you this then, of course, because of course you know that there are 2 schools of thoughts on how this whole thing is going. You have some people that say that of course, he got 70 million votes. It just so happened that Biden won because he got 80 million, but he got 70 million votes.
That right there in itself tells you a lot about where we live. And
what you mean, Knight?
By America. Like, so at first when I saw, because where I live is a whole bunch of Trump supporters and all that. Now
Terry, just so that you know, when he says that, Terry lives in North Carolina now. So Terry's is no longer in a predominantly African American environment. Is it safe to say that?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is there was a lot of people, like you see the Trump flags and all of this and that. And at first, I tried to give people like the benefit of the doubt, because, one of the things that Trump ran on was, draining the swamp, and being an outsider and this and that. So I'm like, well, if that's what they rolling with, whatever. And I'm still like that. But now, in my opinion, if you still vote for Trump, that means you're endorsing what he stands for, right? Like,
true. Well, now what their argument is, when you talk to Trump supporters, one of the things that they always bring up are 2 things: their 401ks, their investments, talking about how financially he helped them personally, I guess. But then also you have some people that are single issue voters, because someone mentioned that to me one time. Because I asked the same question, like, yo, with everything going on, how can you still support them? And somebody might say abortion. So how do you address that? How do you kind of convince them to rethink voting for someone that claim
So
to be against abortion.
all right, so let's do this. So you're against abortions because it's killing a baby or what they say is taking a life, right?
Right.
So with this COVID response, right? He knew about that in February, right?
Right.
So
before that, actually.
So if you pro-life, what about all of those people that died from COVID, or all of the people that he could have saved?
Wow.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah. So
when you have a single issue voter, I'm a little skeptical about that because, like, okay, you might be worried. Some people might be worried about what's in their 401k, but then you got you got people out here that can't even eat.
Now, Sat Law said sometimes. Sometimes people vote their party. He about to start giving shout outs already. We had to give Sat Law a shout out. Go ahead. If you want to give me a shout out, give me a shout out, Bruce.
Well, but see, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
No Philly.
That's right. Well, let me tell you what he said. Sat Law said sometimes people vote their parties no matter what. So, kind of going with what you said, I mean, a single issue voter, how do you then try to get them or attempt or have a conversation with them if they're saying, here you go. So, I'm about to pull out my belt.
Yeah, he had to make his weekly cameo, man.
Yo.
But see, Sage, this is the thing.
What's up, Shice?
Historically, this is the thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Historically, it seems that, and I'm going to say white folks have voted against their best interest to stick with the party line at times. Like we're looking at the Republicans, conservatives will come out with things that are very struck for the top echelon of the of white economy or the economy. Right. If you're looking at people like you're almost in the same state
as we are.
You're in the same status with poor blacks.
Right.
You'll go vote against your interests. And I'm looking at that.
It'd be the poor white people that be voting.
Wait a minute. So going back to when you say, can you change somebody's views? If somebody will be so dogma and sticking to abortion is the reason why they're going with Trump and ignore how this country is being divided and very divisive, and you say, how can I change your mind? I'm like, I don't think they want their minds changed. I think they're going to be who they are.
Right.
So when you say, Terry, you say they showed us who we are. We had 70 million people vote for Trump, MAGA hats, and being very inflammatory and very divisive. And that's 3 times. The last I looked was 20 million African Americans.
Right.
So we triple the number of of that kind of feeling and that culture to who we are. So when I'm still looking like, okay, I get it, but he's wrong. So how do we go forward? Because Trump out and Biden
actually. But that was the question.
How we go forward.
Go ahead, Knight.
Every black man that's legally able to purchase a firearm should purchase a firearm. And let me tell you why.
How Shice laughing with his mouth there.
If people want changes, if people want changes to the gun laws, let all black people start being strapped, right? Yeah. Then it'll be some changes to the gun laws.
Yeah, now I agree with that.
Let me tell you something else.
I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
These folks is out here. They ready to go.
Yeah, well, they showed that with the
see
insurrection.
How they be on those Capitol steps and all in the protests and all that. Look at the young boy, 17 years old. He got a AK. He shoot people. He walking past the cops with his hands up.
Yeah.
And they keep on going.
Okay, but let me ask you this then. I mean, but to a certain extent, though, does that sound like we're giving up on trying to meet in the middle? Because if we chalk it up to we don't see eye to eye, and I can't change your mind because I don't think your mind want to be changed. I mean, isn't that giving up on them, or isn't that giving up on trying to compromise, or is that giving up on trying to compromise?
Hold on, let me just address something Steve says. I haven't really joined in this conversation too much. I believe, first of all, when we talk about, let me just take it back to the original part with the Republicans versus Democrats. And here's why I never believed in either party. Because I don't think as a human being you can be always a Democrat or always a Republican, or always conservative and always kind of like moderate on other issues.
Right.
Because to me, it depends on what affects you.
True.
So like if you had a loved one or somebody you care about, you know, and they had a situation where gun violence was involved, of course you're gonna be conservative on gun issues, right?
Right.
But if it's an issue that you have no experience in whatsoever, you're probably gonna be more than likely you're gonna be like, it doesn't matter to me. I haven't had to deal with that.
Right.
So the whole premise of Republican versus Democrat, conservative versus moderate, to me is ridiculous. But where we get caught up.
Wait, you mean the party system is ridiculous? Is that what you're saying?
Right. But the whole premise behind it is to separate.
Separate the
Make you choose. And if you're on one side, you right. If you're on the other issue, you know, you right, whatever. But nobody wants to look at the root cause of the problems. And the root cause of the problems is, you know, someone of a spiritual faith is twofold for me. I believe, number one, we have an enemy out here that wants to see chaos that nobody's even acknowledging or even believe. A lot of us don't even believe that he really exists, which is the devil. Number two, we are imperfect human beings, right? And we're fallible. So a lot of us often tend to put off our prejudices off on others because we feel not validated by who we are as a person. So we look at others and pick at them to make ourselves feel better.
Well, see, but okay, now, and I get that. So, and this is the question then. But in order to navigate the society in which we live, I mean, we vote for people to go up and to represent our point of view. Now, no one is going to represent us 100%. So you vote for the people or party or whatever that best represents you. So, I mean, or the alternative is to not vote. So do you say not vote at all? Because that's the only other alternative. Either you're gonna.
That's not always the case though, because like with Trump and all of that, right? So his tax cuts is for the rich and all that, right?
Right.
But you got people that living in trailer parks that's, you know, voting for it, and that ain't helping them.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like the Reagan with the trickle down economics. That's not helping them. But they're gonna vote for him anyway.
The people will vote against their best interest if they believe, if you can convince them that they're losing privilege, that white, then they'll vote against their best interest. And what you're really not looking at, it's we focus on racism and lose focus on classism.
Right.
It's really about a lot of this is about classism. Racism and classism is almost like a duality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But we'll do the bait and switch with racism and then classism, and then because even as a black man, when you come up and get some economic status, then we do the bait and switch, like we throw racism back in the picture. But what I will say is, this is the issue beyond the two-party system. You know how you fix the two-party system. You just don't show up politically on election day or election time. You got to be politically active all the time.
All year round, right?
So you
represent,
mobilize, and organize to hold people that you put in the office. Now let's go back to out, bite it in.
Right. This is where we started.
But this new administration accountable for what we asked them to do, that they said they were going to do. And we just want to wait for 4 years and then put another boogeyman, because Trump ain't the first boogeyman, probably the worst.
Right.
No doubt about
that. No doubt about that.
We've seen the Reagans, we've seen Bush Jr. and Bush Sr. So we get even when we love Clinton, we find out Clinton was the boogeyman in disguise with mass incarceration. So we got to be politically aware about what we're doing. And we only show up, like I watched people in a fever pitch during the election time, when close to the election came, as far as Biden and Trump. And as soon as it was over, we went away. Now we back excited again because of inauguration time, and people just talking about how great Michelle looked. She looking great. We love to see Obama.
She did, Michelle. Boy. Woo!
We love to see.
That make you close your eyes. You just like this.
We love to see Kamala in there because that's showing change and diversity. And we love to see the young sister Amanda, the poet laureate. So sisters was on. It was lit.
Right.
When I say lit,
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
you said lit.
You
Oh,
know
you
about to, you know I'm about to call you, right?
Yeah.
You
gotta be politically active
You
and
hit
make
that
sure
nigga.
the people that we're talking about.
Well, I mean, you know, I'll say this though, and I'm the optimist. I normally I find myself a lot of times seeing the positive in it. I think this time more so than any other time. And tell me if you agree with this or not. And if not, why not? I think with the BML movement though, they seem to be more persuasive than any other time that I remember. I don't know if they're gonna if they will allow Biden Harris ticket to get up there and not start pushing forth the platform that people, that folks, and that's prison reform. That's the minimum wage.
I can agree with that.
You know, even, and I think personally, I think one of the big things is the situation where someone is, let's say, killed by a cop, that you bring an outside agency. I forgot what they're calling that. You bring an outside agency to do the investigation instead of letting them investigate themselves. You know, that's a biggie.
Somebody in the comments tell us what they call that. I know what you're talking about.
Hey,
Yeah, you know,
let the family investigate. No, seriously, let them hire an attorney and a private investigator, whatever. Let the family investigate.
You can buy your own investigator, but
As a person who lost a son. Wait, as a person who lost a son, if I would have been able,
that's why they don't.
No. If I would have been able to just to find him, right?
Wait a minute, who you talking about?
One of the people that was responsible.
Right.
I know one of them is jail, but there's like a couple others.
Right.
You know, I would have been able to I would have had to give them. I'd have had to give them up to the police or something, or I'd have had to, let them know their information.
Oh,
or where they can find them.
Well, I'll say. well, that's what I was gonna say. I'll say this: not everybody is as calm as you are, and now you opening yourself up to vigilantism. You know, I mean, as it relates to that. I mean, but I get what you're saying.
Days, you've been to the crib. You see what I'm working with.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm into all that.
Well, I got you. All right. So, okay, let me see. What was it? What do we have next? We have Second Chances.
No, go with the
Nights in Miami. That was one that was kind of added on today. Shice, we talked about how, or actually Shice kind of brought that out, how it's a lot of activity. It's trending. Everybody's talking about. What's the producer name? Regina. What's her name?
Regina King.
Did a great job.
She did
a lot of moves, man.
Now, I will say this: I didn't get to see what you say.
The front and behind the camera. So salute Regina King.
She was in the movie.
No, she directed it.
Oh, right.
One of the producers, but we know she started.
Oh, okay. In other instances, okay. Shice wanted to talk about that. Because of course, it was a big movie. I started watching it. I don't think Pooch tuned in too much yet. Terry saw it already. So what was so profound about that movie, Shice, that you felt like you wanted to bring it up now? What did you get from it?
It wasn't just myself. I'm watching everybody talking about it.
Right.
I'm watching people who've been talking about it for a week. I watched it last Sunday, and people were talking about it all the way up till today.
What are they saying about it? I mean, like what?
Well, the biggest thing is, for overwhelmingly, people love it.
Right.
It became some issue what other people having with taking iconic figures
right.
and fiction with it. So now you start dealing with maybe historical inaccuracies, or people start saying, why are we doing a narrative or narrative about powerful icons that might take away, what actually these people are, or not giving them a better view of them. And my thing is, when I see that, that's my question. I would like to see the people in the comments how they feel about taking historical icons and turning it into fiction, because we get it to the table, but at the same time, we take entertainment and use it as a teachable moment to start saying about, like, let's just talk about who these people are after we entertain. And then the other part is, I would want to know from the people, it's like, why not? Like, why would a closer narrative be entertaining as well?
What do you think about that, Pooch? What do you think about what Shice just said?
Well, here's what I would tell you. I haven't seen the movie, but I can relate to, all of us can relate to the issues that they're dealing with then and we're still dealing with now. I think that as black men and women, we have to be willing to do several things to get our community back to where it needs to be, or where it should be.
When I saw the movie,
like,
it's like
what you mean though? What y'all mean?
It's almost like we're stuck in time.
Yeah, I think number one, like I saw an interview that Denzel gave, and they asked the white reporter asked him how did he feel about racism, and Denzel looked him in the eye and he said, "Look, it starts in the home." He said, if you look at a lot of black communities, the father is not there. So he was saying, like, if the father is there, the chances are the children are getting, better educated, better advised. The upbringing and the rearing is better. And it doesn't matter what they experience on the outside world in terms of racism, because they'll be able to handle it because they have two parents in the home that can teach them the right way to deal with things. When you got just one parent in the home, whether it's mom or pops or even grandmoms or grandparents, it's hard for children to get a whole perspective of how to deal with situations because you only getting one side of it.
Right. Back in the day, though, bringing it back to, I don't know if I got to the part where they kind of talked about how they came up, but back in the day, I thought that was the whole thing that. Are you saying that currently we need to try to get the families back together, but because of back in the day when you had two parents home? Is that what he said? Did I miss something?
Think about it like this. Hold on, let me finish my point. Think about it like this, though. I grew up on a block where it was only one father.
Dang.
In the home.
You mean in one home or all the homes?
All the homes. It was like about 40 families on the block, but only one parent, one father, I should say.
Y'all had one?
The same one?
Damn. You ain't tell me that.
Y'all had the same father?
You hold it out, nigga.
Oh, that's why y'all are looking like. So y'all really do look alike.
But Shice can attest to this because we grew up around the corner from each other. We didn't have father figures that we like. He knew where his dad was. We would go by his pop's workplace to work all the time. I knew where my dad was, but he wasn't making no effort to put the time in.
Well, so you up on me again because I don't even know who my dad is.
Well, that's the crazy part. But but think about what we're saying as human beings, right? Yeah. We're saying we don't even know who our dads are, or we don't have close relationships with our dads, but yet we still survive.
Right.
But now that helps you become a better father because we teach our children this is how you're supposed to raise a family with a loving mother, loving father.
Right.
Preferably they both married or whatever. But sometimes it don't. But hold up, T, this all comes full circle because I think if you look at what Denzel was trying to say, he was trying to say if you start in the home and teach your kids the right things, then you can deal with racist attitudes better than just lashing out in anger.
But you shouldn't have to deal with racist attitudes.
You can't, but you can't.
That's really the wrong.
What you say, Knight?
Attitude. I mean,
what you say, Knight?
It's like he said. You just teach them how to deal with racism. No, you don't teach people how to be inferior.
No, that's not. But see, that's not what I said. That is not what I said. That is not even close to what I said.
Listen. We're getting back to what we were talking about the movie, right?
Well, I didn't see the movie, so I can't comment on the movie.
But just talking about in general.
Right. So, when you say Denzel, when did Denzel was Denzel making a speech?
No, he was. I don't even why the reporter asked him the question, but the question was how you feel. I guess it was all around the time of all this Black Lives Matters and all this. Okay. He was talking about a movie, and he asked him about racism.
No, I don't think anybody, whether your father tell you or not, or whoever, we already know it exists. You could tell somebody, okay, mass incarceration exists, gentrification exists, redlining exists, racial profiling exists. We know all these things exist. So just telling me that it exists don't make it go away.
Right. But I don't think that was his point. I think his point was in terms of how we teach our children as black men and women. I think his point was, and I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I do agree we need to have fathers in the home. But what I will say
I
is,
agree with that.
if you're not in the home being responsible as a parent first and foremost, then you have yourself to blame for why your child is doing this and doing that, and how you deal with the racism. Like when I was growing up, my mom, race never played a factor in how we grew up, because my mom told me and my brothers early on, hey, the world ain't loving and ain't kind and ain't fair. White people, not all, but you know, you're going to run across some white people that don't want to see you do well in life.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't reinforced every day I went out the house. It was just, okay, you know, here's this lesson in life, and we would talk about it periodically.
Right.
So I always knew, and then we grew up around the corner from Temple University, where the white folks didn't come on our side of the street.
But look, wait, let me reel this back in.
Way away from we.
That's what Tay about to say, though.
We was talking about the movie and how the movie relates to present day, right?
Right.
So when I actually saw the movie, so when the feeling that I got from it was like, damn, like things haven't really changed in all this time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it seems like it's on a farther road to getting better. But I mean, like, so going back to something Shai said earlier, like, it don't matter when he was talking about classism versus racism.
Right.
Well, racism overpowers classism because
that's going to be the fallback.
It don't matter how much money
it
don't matter how much money I make. I do pretty good, but guess what? I'm still black. I'm still black. You know what I mean?
Right.
And some
that's
people,
going to be the default.
Some people see me, look, you know what I mean? Some people see me and they treat me like, you know, like they're superior to me. Right. And it's like, I know I'm probably smarter than the average dude.
Yogi Bear, nigga.
You know what I mean?
Smarter than the average dude.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I think I probably make a little more than the average dude. But when people see me, they like,
black man. You're black man.
They go, that nigga right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I smoke weed. That's my thing, right? If I go on my porch and smoke weed, I get looks like, there he is. But you know what I mean? That has nothing to it has nothing to do with me as a person. They looking at me from the shell, like, oh, they go that black dude. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All right. Okay. So I've looked at one of the. Can you?
No, I think you froze, Shice.
Oh, you took a picture, Shice?
I think his zoomy went out.
I think it like freeze frame.
I think his zoomy went out. Let me see something.
Shice playing freeze
frame.
Shice.
I went into the comments, right? And the brother Wallace was saying he as a poet, as a writer, he appreciates the poetic licensing and the pressures that they gave. And I get that. My question was, can this become a teachable moment after we entertain and we appreciate it? I was entertained. I'm gonna watch it again probably 3 times because it was that good as far as entertainment.
Right.
My thing is, I'll put it to you like this. To this day, because Spike Lee put a Brother Baines inside that Denzel X movie, people to this day think that Malcolm came to the nation with Brother Baines. So you can't tell me when you put something out and you tell people it's loosely based and it's fiction, they start taking these things as truths. So I'm saying, while we're being entertained, can we sit there and say, just point out some of the real accuracies?
Yeah.
So we can.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
We can't do poetic licensing, but I'm saying I think we should be able to, to mention some things, because one of the biggest conversations was Sam Cooke and Malcolm X. Malcolm telling Sam Cooke what he should be writing about, and Sam Cooke dropped that album before Ali beat Sonny Liston. So they was in that room in that night. Sam Cooke already was dropping socially relevant with music. So even though we was entertained by that whole conversation,
you said that was a license.
Oh no, they said it was Otis Redding.
That was Sam Cooke. So
to answer your question, wait a minute.
So while we're being entertained, just also put it out there so people actually know that Malcolm X ain't had to tell Sam Cooke to be who he was, because Sam Cooke was already economically ahead of his time and he was already socially aware. So we should know that about Sam Cooke, that it didn't take somebody else to tell him that. Or
Well, you know what?
Conversation. That's just what I'm saying. Just we can be entertained because that was an entertaining conversation. And but at the same time, let's be honest about who Sam Cooke was.
Well, then then to answer your question, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think because now what I don't want or what I wouldn't want to see is that say it again.
You don't think anything is wrong with what?
With being pointing out inaccuracies. Because to finish that thought, the same way we're critical, I don't think it's wrong with us being critical on any body of work, to be honest with you. But what I was going to say is that I don't want to see a situation, because you know that it can happen. I think too many times we're so busy looking for the opportunity to say no. Well, I saw the first one, everything was wrong. Now I don't want to go see the second one. Okay. You know, now that I think that is a problem. But as far as having a critical eye, or maybe having that spawn you to say, well, let me go do some additional research to see what really happened. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
And sometimes it's just personal bias. If anybody know me, and Anthony know me since second grade, he know I'm an Ali dude. Like, Ali's my guy. And just to see them have Ali drinking, it's going to be like, yo, Ali was a drinker. You know what I mean? And we could just say that. For the movie was entertaining to have them going back and forth. This is last drink because he's coming to the nation. But, you know, but people to know that, no, Ali was on a straight path to be great since he was 12 years old, 13 years old. He walked in that gym and said, I'm going to be the champion of the world. And to know that, just what I'm saying, if I wanted people to know who Sam Cooke was, who Ali was, good and bad, because we don't even talk about Jim Brown as great as he was, because as a kid, we wanted to be Jim Brown. He was tough. The women liked him. He was a football hero. We liked Jim Brown, and then he became an activist. Then we found out later he beat women. Right. So sometimes we got to be even the dirt got to come out.
Right. Yeah.
Do a movie and make somebody look pristine, and then somebody don't nudge each other and say, "Well, he was a woman beater."
But I mean, to be perfectly honest, then I don't think if you ignore it. I think that's part of the problem. So again, I don't think that there's anything wrong with having additional conversations around the accuracies of a body of work. But I'm going to interject this into it also, though. Were you going to say something regarding that night? You going to say something?
No, I said, I just like what struck me about the movie is how it relates to today, and how we haven't really progressed as much as we think.
Yeah, now I've seen about 45 minutes of it, and I forget the specific conversation that they were having, but you know what it was? That's what it was. In the beginning, toward the beginning, when Jim Brown went to go visit the white dude, I forget who he was. I don't know, maybe he was the owner of the team or something. And when he was going to go move some furniture, you remember that part?
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh,
he was like,
don't let niggas in the house."
And then Jim Brown stood there. That right there. That was heavy. Now
I just think Jim Brown would have been like.
That's what I was going back to.
What he would be.
It's classism versus racism. That's what I'm saying. Well, he as much money as them dudes had.
He still saw a black man.
They saw his skin.
A nigga. Actually, no.
And
we didn't see a black man.
We talk about racism and classism.
We didn't see a black man. He saw a nigga, and that's what he said, because everything that his whole interaction up to that point was. Mr. Brown, it's good to see. I'm glad to see you. I'll do anything for you. But when it came time for him to step into his crib, it was like, yo, we don't let niggas in the house. And Jim Brown just stood there.
Can I say this one?
Yeah.
Watching some of my great icons growing up, and Anthony and Stacey, y'all know that about me, and people that know that about me as a poet. The reason I'm so influenced, because just because Ali was great, I see his conviction. When I read about his conviction against the Vietnam War, when I seen different things, that made me kind of want to understand, even in North Philly, when all my friends was like talking about what crack dealer had the flyest car and how much money we guessing they made. I'm looking at them like, y'all hero worshiping these type of people.
Shice, don't
wait a minute.
Don't talk about me like that.
Wait a minute. And today we're watching people hero worship. Like I work in a school. I should have said that in the what's called. I've been working in education for this is my 7th semester. And I'm watching with kids, we always say just a song, how they get caught up in pop entertainment and the silly stuff. And when we got to start talking about some of our icons, they know nothing about them. So yes, use entertainment to be teachable moments. I'm definitely, because I watch documentaries with Rolanda and Rashad when they were kids, and I do it with Raheem. He didn't watch One Night in Miami with me, but we will, because we're going to watch it again. And we're going to have these conversations because you want people to start saying, you know, what the greatness we are, maybe that's the person I want to be. Because in times, you know, somebody say, what would Jesus do? I've been in situations like, what would Ali do? What would Malcolm do? Right. I want to be those type of men.
Right.
Well, look.
And now as an artist, I'm like
this whole racism.
But Sam Cooke, I'm looking at Sam Cooke as a role model.
How people look at us or view us. I'm looking at some of the comments, and one thing I'm just talking for me and me only. You know, as a parent, you try to teach your kids about this world, and every day I'm in it. I try to realize who I'm dealing with. I don't think every white person view us that way. Right. Because I know a lot of
talking about how we view ourselves.
No, I'm not talking like what you said. I'm just addressing in general. Okay. Like I said, I'm reading some of the comments. Okay. And so I think it comes down to this real simple for me. Know who you're dealing with. Always be skeptical. I'm just as skeptical of you know, people the same color I am as a white person, because I generally think, now I tend to trust, but I generally think that people really don't have your best interest at heart for them. Why should they? Why should they? Right. Now the fact that they white and they do something dirty to you, it makes it worse.
Now, just hold that thought.
But I'm just saying, wait, would they do something dirty to you?
Stop, man, stop. You know where you going.
Don't allow me to do anything dirty to you. No, finish your thought. But you
in the lunchroom in Mansion. Come on, man.
You kind of saying what Wasul said. And a lot of white people, Wasu said, a lot of white people still feel that way about us blacks today. They just dress it up. And actually, Pooch, this goes back to what you said about your mom. Your mom said that she told y'all that, look, the world is cruel. And I think that's probably even worse, the fact that you don't know who your enemies are. So you might get a false sense of security thinking that this person is looking out for your best interest. You put your guard down, and then they kick you. They kick you in the rear.
One thing I don't like grouping everybody in the same category. Right. Like I don't say all white people. Right. Because I don't like when some white people say all black people.
But
you know, I don't do that.
It's context. You're clearly talking about anybody that are looking at you as less than. So we don't have to.
Yeah, but all white people don't look at you like that, Shice.
We're talking about white people that look at you as less than.
That's what he said. That's why he said you don't say all. You don't use the word all, because when you say all is all.
I use the word all. When we're talking about them, when I say them, it's hit dogs holler. If I say bad dads, you know I'm not talking about all dads. You know I'm talking about bad dads. If I'm talking about absentee dads.
Well, then you should say bad white people.
Right.
Instead of just all white people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You should, matter of fact, you should say racist white people.
Okay. When I'm sitting there being clear and saying when they look at us, you're only talking about people that's looking at you as less than. When you're clear that somebody looking for a reason to think you're less intelligent, less talented, you oppress your voice, keep you out of their community. We watched how this country will shift and shape. Even our churches are segregated. How we go to house of worship?
That's right. Most segregated.
But see, you got some churches that ain't separate.
But you know what? But let me ask you this.
The point was, we know we got some. The point is, they are separated. A lot of them are.
A lot of them.
When we're supposed to be worshiping,
a lot of that has to do with locale, Shice.
Okay, well, you know what?
A lot of that has to do with locale.
But then let me ask the question then. With that being said, because you're right, that's they find that the schools and the churches are some of the most segregated places that are out there.
But it has to do with locality.
Well, I mean, no, because some people drive. A lot of people drive past. No, listen to this though, Shai. No, Shai, hear me out. Some people drive past. Some people drive past other churches to attend one particular one. So if you would drive past a church to attend one, or say you drive past a white church, or vice versa to attend, so so it's not only the distance. I mean, you're just saying that church there is not for me. I'm going to this other one where my folk are. So we know that happens, So I don't think, and I'm not trying to say that that's only the case.
We don't have to nickname things. White flight happened in the inner cities because of civil rights. As soon as we were able to move in their neighborhood, they ran, and then when they came back, they gentrified and pushed you out. We don't do that. They do that, and if you didn't do that, good white people, then we're not talking about you. But know that when you say locality, that's why I'm addressing this. Locality, black people don't look at white people move next door and say, God damn it, sell the house. That's not historically us. Historically, that's them.
Yeah. All right.
So it's I'm saying, no, I don't worry about, can I make you want to live next to me? No, I'm more concerned about my brothers and sisters I live next door to, us being decent with each other.
Now, let me tell you what Tanya Sears said.
I think Tanya Sears, a Mansion Knight,
she is a Mansion Knight. Tanya Sears. Now, I agree with this, and I'm glad she said this. Now, forget my reading, y'all, with the Mansion. All right, she said the movie was entertaining, and I feel that she brought various prominent blacks of that time into different platforms, and that made the point in terms of how much influence they had. Tanya, you know what? That was the first thing that came to my mind. And I always use the word infrastructure. And I love the thought that when Malcolm X, and I didn't get to the point yet, or I don't know how they resolved it, but I think Betty Shabazz was talking to him and she said, did you ask him about it? So I get the feeling that he was about to ask Ali for money. I don't know if it happened or not. I just was under the assumption that he was about to.
No, I think he was about to ask him to join his group, his Muslim.
Oh, is that what okay.
Yeah.
I guess I screwed that up.
You better watch a little bit more of that shit because you got that thing twisted.
I did. Maybe I was drinking.
But Ali, the Malcolm man, Malcolm didn't bring Ali to the nation. Brother Abdul Rahman Muhammad brought Ali to the nation and Naeem Akbar.
But again, the thing that I did like about it, though, I really like seeing those four powerhouses on the same screen. I think that said a lot, and I hope, and I think this might have been something that Shai said, I hope that this will open the door, because I remember before, like in the 90s or early 2000s, we complained that the only movies that we saw were Boys in the Hood or Medea and that kind of stuff. So now we're starting to see a nice... Right, the Thugs, right, or Baby Boy, stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. I
think I got a little Melvin in me.
Oh, never mind. I'm gonna leave that one alone. But anyway,
Shai's like, this your mama. Just know I'm gonna be around.
Tyrese looking dude.
Yeah. But I did like to see that, and I hope that she will continue to create movies, because I thought that movie, from what I've seen so far, was good, and it seems like she got a lot of good feedback. Say again?
You put them on the platform, and that's my point. Once they was on the platform, we like, yo, these iconic men, let's do a deeper analysis of them.
Right. Us doing analysis.
Fellas, on our last few minutes, we done beat this movie to death. And I've been trying to get off this topic for a few minutes.
I told you minutes ago, Stace. Come on, move on.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all killing it.
Y'all talking about? So where we going now? Where we going?
Were you the moderator?
No, where we going?
Y'all was going to second chances, I thought. Well, I mean,
y'all
man,
really got like 10 minutes left. We want to tell.
All right, out of pocket with that movie.
Okay,
shit,
man. Second chances, baby.
Oh, y'all gotta relax, man.
Second chances.
Nobody don't know we out of pocket until you tell them we out of pocket.
What second chances?
Hey, whoever listening, wait. Let me get it. We out of pocket right now.
You just go pull the curtain
telling
back.
everybody.
All right, Nike. What's up, man? Second chances. Where did that come from? How did that subject come up?
Well,
No, Terry.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Terry did it.
how it came
Terry
up?
I don't mean you personally. I don't mean to throw your stuff
How
out
it
there,
came
but
up?
yeah, how did that come up? Where did we start talking about second chances?
Came up, right?
I think
Right.
one of our production meetings, we was talking about how all of us had the same thing in common.
What was that?
Like we on our second relationships.
Relationship? What you mean?
You mean marriages?
Right, yeah.
All right, nigga, if you want to be technical.
Well, call it what it is. I mean, there's a difference between a relationship and a marriage.
All right, nigga. All right, hey, all right.
Yeah, it's cable. Hey,
Yeah,
Shai,
all right.
it's cable. We can do that.
So we on our second marriage, right? Or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
So each of us have experience with like two families and
Mm,
like kids by one person, and then having to still raise those kids with that person,
right.
and we pretty much have similar, so we just thought that would be a good topic to discuss.
And the other thing, it's almost a lot of guys that I know
Yeah.
that are in a second marriage. Like a lot of them.
Right.
And
like
all of us got the commonality that we did it real young. We did it
Right. That's what I was just getting ready to say. Yeah.
Barely out our teens the first time. I remember Rebecca, my oldest two kids' mother, we came to your reception when you married Esther. So we was all like 20, 21, 22. Oh,
right.
No name, no blame.
No names, man. No names.
I said,
all right. Scratch that from the record. No names. No names. All right. Where did Pooch go? Pooch disappeared. All right, Pooch, elaborate a little bit, man. I mean,
y'all wilding out on these subjects with these names.
No. This is the first name, man. Come on.
Put my shit on blast and
All
everything.
right, Pooch. All right, second chances, Pooch. I mean, when that conversation come, what did you get out of it? You were on yours also. I mean, and going into it early like that, how did it affect you? I mean, what did you learn from your first to the now?
As Terry brought out when we talked about this in pre-production, I told you I'm going to address it from what I could have done differently.
Mm.
You could in the first one, Pooch. Now, be honest. It ain't a whole lot you could have did differently on the first one. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just putting it out there. You my man, you know what I'm saying? But
what we're not gonna do.
You my man. So I'm just gonna say
you my man too, but what we're not gonna do is we're not gonna talk about each other's relationships like we know what we was there to see it all unfold.
Well, we were.
Yeah, we were, but go ahead. But what you mean, Pooch?
I could have done differently I'm just talking about on my end.
All right, well, go ahead.
Yes,
what could you have done differently? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I was 19 with a son and wanted to be a good father, something I didn't have growing up. So I married his mother, went to the military, and tried to do the right thing. But she was a kid herself. She was only like 17. So I can't get mad at her because we were both
Germany and had babies.
No. I think you doing worse than me calling names.
Yeah.
I ain't say no name.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'd rather you said names.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I ain't say no name.
Pooch, continue on with your truth.
You ain't saying no name, but you saying too much.
Pooch, continue on with your truth.
That's why I say let me tell my truth and you tell your truth.
Go ahead, Pooch. We're listening. We're gonna ignore Terry, man. Terry, now you got the feeling how Terry was in class. Go ahead, Pooch.
Oh my God.
He was never that bright. Go ahead, Pooch.
It's all history now, but I'm just saying, like I said, I want to approach this from what I could have done differently as a man, as a father, as a husband, because it's never, whenever a relationship breaks up, it's never just one person's fault. It takes two to tango. As my
mom. You know what? Okay, let me interrupt real quick. And I'm sorry. Normally I'm trying to do this. Okay, the way you are now, at where you are now in your life, if the same thing happened again currently, you would stay?
No.
The same exact thing.
Well, of course not.
Well, wait a minute. So what would you different do?
Yeah,
what would you do differently?
You would do differently. That's what I'm saying.
So you said you would have done the same. You would have done the same thing.
How about y'all stop trying to tell me what I'm saying and let me tell you?
Okay, I'm listening.
All right, go ahead.
What I would do differently is same like in my first match.
I would leave again. I would leave again.
I wouldn't do anything to cause the marriage to fall apart like I did in the first one and like I did in the second one. I was responsible for my actions. And I cheated in both relationships. It ain't nothing new. Both of them already knew. So it's not like I'm saying breaking news here. But as a man, that's what I would do differently. I would just try to, relate to my mate more and make it less about me, so that way we can have a better understanding.
Whenever the issues came up, that was your out, or
well, what you mean, Night Shice?
You just did it on your own. It wasn't a cause and effect thing.
No, it wasn't a cause and effect because, you know, you know how it is when as a man, you don't always have to.
What you mean? I know how it is.
Well, I'm gonna tell you if y'all listen.
You on your second one, you nigga?
If y'all listen,
come on,
like,
dog.
the thing is, as a man, look, first of all, as men, we know it ain't that hard for us to find somebody else to be intimate with. It ain't that hard. You could be Biggie Smalls and still find a chick that's gonna get you, give you,
baby.
But the thing is, like, when you in that environment and you don't remove yourself from potential pitfalls, like being in the clubs or being in the strip joints and all that, and you know the possibilities there, but you don't remove yourself.
You talking about Rock Hard Productions?
Come on, man. Everything ain't funny, man.
Okay. No, I'm listening, though, man. I'm listening. All right.
Y'all gonna have a real discussion. Let's have a real discussion.
No, but we listening, man. We listening.
No, y'all not. Y'all not listening. Y'all don't
catch your feelings.
All right. Go ahead, Shice.
Yeah, y'all, somebody else go, man.
Right. So for records, we say everybody's on their second. No, we all in different stages, I believe. Two of y'all still in your second marriage. Anthony, you working on your second marriage. And mine's is right. Mine's been over since 2012. But the reason I was thinking about the second time, I'm looking like it's almost like a trend. And I think a lot of it stemmed from, and Anthony kind of touched on it, when he said we grew up without fathers. So I think the first thing we did was that Will Smith scene. We was trying to give what we never had.
Right.
We started out real young, and we may not have all the and the women we were with might not have all the skills necessary either, because we both basically was children at 21.
All of us, right.
Right. That's the thing. We were young.
Right. A professional teenager at 21. So we trying to do this thing, pay bills, jobs, schooling, babies, and all that kind of stuff. And you're still kind of selfish, and you don't know who you are. So we did you do the first one, and I really was like, I'm really just trying to be the father my father wasn't. That was the first time. And the second time, you think, when you get a little older, you're 30ish and all that kind of stuff, you know yourself a little better. And I just think your second chance, a lot of them, I'm looking at some of us who like our second marriages are better. And I'm seeing some people getting divorced on their second time. Like I said, I got a circle of friends, a big circle of friends that's on their second, and I see it varies.
Trying to say we ain't got no friends, Shice.
So is the answer?
The first time, I believe, everybody, because when I talked to them, they were trying to right the wrongs in their own life as fathers and sons.
Though, then would you then say, and all of us have sons, would we tell our sons, yo, dog, slow down a little bit, wait till you 30? Wait till 30.
I'm like, at 30, I'm thinking almost personally, you as your character, you almost who you going to be for the rest of your life. At 30, you don't like. At 30, even though at the 30 I changed things, it was already there.
Right.
So at 30, you're kind of who you are. Right. In my 20s, I remember having one of the biggest arguments with Rebecca. This is how long ago we was together. We were watching School Days, and she was trying to tell me that if you went to college, you would have been you would have pledged to be a Greek. And I'm sitting there telling them, no, I'd have been Larry Fishburne.
It'd have been just like this.
Everybody no, I'd have been Larry Fishburne. Talking about that from South Africa and fuck the Greeks. Like, I'd have been that dude.
Right. I mean, well, but you know what, though, Shice? I mean,
but to be with somebody that didn't know exactly who you were, that was like infuriating. Like, you don't even know who I am.
I mean, well, two things. Well, let me ask you this then. But this is kind of changing the subject, though. You are who you are based on your experiences. We don't know, and that's one of the things I've always said, in life in general. You can't, if you change one thing, you change everything. If you change the school you went to, you're a different person. You might not have been Larry Fishburne. You might have been, the Clumps.
Or you might have been there at Dewano. You don't know who you gonna be.
My cousins grew up on my mother's side. When I would visit them in Mount Airy and West,
might have been Fresh Prince, right?
Where they live and with the college, I probably would have been.
So Rebecca was right.
brought up in the Temple area and being from 16th Street, we was look at them dudes like,
right, you nuts,
Theo
right,
Huxtable ass niggas.
Right. Right. I mean, so two questions then. Well, one question. So is that the case? And I mean, so do we or should we be trying to tell our sons to wait a little bit? To wait.
At least wait to have children.
Wait to have kids. But I'm glad you said it.
Because kids until you're ready. Because like my personal experience, right?
What's ready?
You know, my son came to my graduation.
Damn. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I remember that.
Like, so I'm fresh out of school. I got a baby to take care of. I'm trying my best to do the right thing. Right.
Which is what Shiesty said.
What happened? You know what happened?
More.
You know, I had to go. I went away to college to play ball and all that for a little bit, but I couldn't even stay there because I had responsibilities at home.
Right. All right. Well, okay. We winding it down, but I do want to throw this in there. Do we tell our kids, specifically our sons, because I think women are programmed a little differently, and I hope a lady will respond. I think women, and this kind of goes into the other question.
Wait, you ain't let me finish, Stace.
Huh?
You ain't let me finish.
Well, what you were saying wasn't important. All right, so all right, go ahead. All right, go ahead.
No, but what I'm saying is, I would tell my son or my sons, because I got 4 sons and I got a daughter.
Right.
I would tell all of them I got grandkids now, so telling my one son, he already got his little family. But I would have said, wait until you are more financially stable.
Right.
Because when I was young and had a baby, I didn't have nobody to pay. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
You know, she got a job. She had a little job. I tried to get a little job. But the thing is, that little bit of money is not enough money to take care of no baby.
Right.
So,
right.
Okay.
So that's when, and like Shai said earlier, you see people in the street, you know, pushing nice cars and, you know, wearing jewelry and making all this money or whatever. You like, man.
And allegedly, you want to start a crack house across from Bunbury Project. Allegedly.
Guys, you saying too much, man.
So he said allegedly.
Yo, allegedly.
When it come to me, it's fine. When it come to you, when it's too much.
Tay didn't do that. I never rode in the car. I never went over there with Tay. Yeah, right. Anyway, listen.
Yo, chill,
but listen,
chill,
I got to insist it. It's 6 o'clock, so we're gonna have to go back to this one because we got it.
6 o'clock.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Where you at, nigga?
I need my readers on, man. I need my readers.
Utah somewhere.
This nigga in California somewhere.
I mean,
but listen. Okay, real quick, we're gonna wind it down. But the question I want to throw out there before we do we also have to instill in our kids in general? And I'm gonna say because I'm gonna kind of talk for me specifically also. Not only wait until you're a little older, but also to learn to respect the institution. Do we say enough about that? Like, yo, you said you were going to stick and stay. You know, sort of, kind of, and that kind of goes along with me. We were all talking about before we started recording Pooch. It's like, yo, sometimes, and actually with you too, Nike, sometimes when you hit a certain level, you just say, okay, you know what? I'm here. You get it in your mind. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm going to stick and stay. Do we do enough of that? Do we tell our kids enough of that when they're young and in a serious relationship?
Well, see,
but don't answer that.
If you do it right, you don't have to tell your kids. Because
no, but we tell them. But you just said we tell them that
kids
have a
tend
kid
to mirror their families. Kids tend to mirror their
because
parents.
I feel two ways about that. Because you telling somebody to stick and stay, if it's verbally, mentally, and emotionally draining, let alone physically, I don't.
Well, that's different. I agree with that. All right, since he first, we're gonna wind this thing down, y'all. It's 10 o'clock. I mean, 9 o'clock. What time?
Yo, why don't you get a watch, man?
No, I'm looking at it now. I don't have my readers on, man. All right, so listen, y'all.
Yo, that gas station.
He got his room. Well, he got his room.
He got his John.
See, we found out before we came on. Shice doesn't have Zoom. He has Zoomy. So, so listen. Keep the comments going. We're going to be logging on. We're going to be talking, having this conversation. We hope you're enjoying it. The goal is to do this with some kind of regularity. So everybody that's in the group, invite your friends. We'll let you know when we're going to do it again. It might be weekly. It might be bi-weekly. We don't know yet, but we're going to do it with some kind of regularity, and we hope that you'll all join in.
And next time we'll have
let
some
me
more.
say this.
We'll
We're
have
not
more
just gonna be
interesting
doing this
topics.
through the group. We also gonna be active in the page. We want to keep these conversations going in the page. We want to see where it can grow.
Right.
We want to see
And
where it
give.
can grow. 'Cause one of the things we're talking about being real brothers is we're going to be real men doing real progressive things.
Right.
So we want to know what can we do other than, the conversation is actually, in my thought, and I'll connect with people that want to do those things. If we want to start mentoring clubs, if we want to start business networking, all those things are possibilities for real brothers and real sisters to do.
All right, so keep the comments going. Also, give us, if you have an idea, subject matter. We talk. If you bring up something and we can talk about it, by all means, put it in the comments. And like I said, we'll probably end up doing it next week. But we'll put that out in the group. So please stay tuned.
In the page, you can
say it again.
You can do it in the week of the page. You don't have to wait.
Right. Okay.
And also, we'll be posting all our videos on our site,
correct.
RealBrosLive.com.
That's right. You can see this.
So, and you can click and you can subscribe there as well. So, yeah,
right.
just if you couldn't catch the content, or if you like the content and wanted to share it with somebody, you could just give them the link to the site and check out a recording.
Hey, Pooch, any parting thoughts, man?
Yeah, real quick. We just try to talk about things that everybody else talk about,
right?
In their homes, barbershops, place of business, wherever they find themselves. We just decided to bring this to video for the world to see. So,
okay, hope you enjoy.
We try to keep it real, keep it honest, but we also try to keep it respectful. And y'all might hear us, raise our voices at each other. But it's all out of love, and we laugh and joke, and we
brothers
disagree.
Do. That's right.
Real brothers in the real world. This is how we do it when we ain't on film. So this is how we gonna do it.
Passing parting thoughts, Shice.
After we stop the Facebook recording, could we stay on this real quick?
We can.
I had to say that while we still. All right, all right, y'all. We hope you enjoyed it. All right, okay, stop. We're gonna end it now, y'all. Thanks a lot. Tune in. Go ahead, Nike. He done froze again.